All right, what's going on? This is PodCurt number 8. It's actually number 8 this time. Last time I said it was 8, but it wasn't. All right, so I'm at home. This is where I was born and raised, Homestead, Florida. This is our backyard. It's low-key pretty sick, kind of beautiful. We did build this. It took a long time and a lot of hard work, but it was fun. So title of this PodCurt will probably be something like Why Study Abroad Part 1. So Part 1 is because I haven't studied abroad yet, but Part 2 is going to be when I come back and finish it up. So maybe I can get a more complete answer to the question that I'm asking this time when I come back. And so I can also see how I'm thinking before I leave and how I'm thinking when I come back and how it affects me. And I think that's a good idea. And so why study abroad? So I'm doing this GTL program in Metz, France, and I think Metz is the best place to study abroad because it's kind of Central Europe, and in there, especially with the partnership with Georgia Tech, I can also take classes while abroad that go towards my major and minors, and I can also, have fun and visit a lot of different cities and countries around Europe because Metz is pretty centralized. And getting the U-Rail pass is definitely a dub because you can go to many different places pretty easily. And so yeah, so why should I study abroad now? I think now is the best time, not only because a lot of my friends are going and because a lot of people say, oh, yo, you got to study abroad. I think it's good to study abroad because your mind will be able to, you'll actually be able to gain more of a perspective about not only how small you are, but how different other people are, but also how similar they are. That's just what I've heard from a lot of other people that travel and study abroad. And yeah, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun is why I'm doing it too, because going a lot of different places, exploring, adventuring, running into problems, probably a lot of bad things are going to happen, but I think we'll come out on top, hopefully. But yeah, I think it's good to run into some problems and see some beautiful places. And I think that's cool. Actually, this is going to sound weird, but I think we already are somewhat a multiplanetary species. Because not in the sense of exactly we're multiplanetary in we're at different planets, but multiplanetary where it's you can go somewhere different and have it seem like a whole nother kind of planet and atmosphere and culture. So not physical atmosphere, but the people around you. And so I don't know, you watch Star Wars or some kind of movie where the main characters go to a bunch of different planets and they see a lot of different beings on each planet, and they usually look different, kind of CGI animated, but they all act different and talk different. And I think that's exactly like going to another country. And and it may be weird, but it's if you can be someone who can travel multiplanetary, so not multiplanetary like planets, but multiplanetary fly to different countries and interact with all of the people in ways that benefit you and the people there, then I think you can really be a master. You can be you can be otherworldly. You can be someone who's not only good at travel, but good at understanding his surroundings and adapting to them in his own way. And this is a weird picture to paint of multiplanetary without being multiplanetary, but I really feel it's you go to a different place and you're wow, I'm on a whole nother planet. The gravity's the same, still 9.81, whatever. But you meet different people and do different things, and they have different food and different everything. And I think there's still beauty in everything there. And so why should I study abroad? Even more so maybe I can get a step closer to becoming someone who is otherworldly, someone who really is a hitchhiker of the galaxy. That was a good book. And so basically going to different places and being able to adapt to your surroundings as necessary. And I think the better you get at that, the better you can be organized in your daily life. You can kind of set your priorities in a way that you have more leverage. Because what I'm working on now, also why study abroad, when I'm trying to build this waiter system. And so I think this study abroad will allow me to have some time between travel where I can learn a lot about kind of the very technical stuff of software development and like the Internet of Things, because I really need to learn about how to have the robots communicating with a main server that's in the cloud. And I think it'll be best to have the main server be in the cloud and not some like room at the side of the in like a little compartment in a shopping mall. And so then I can just boot up my computer, and anywhere I have internet I can control the robots on the ceiling. So that's still like security, but I think that like security levels are much more advanced enough so that I can do that pretty easily without being compromising the system. Oh, did you see that? Oh no, I blocked it. There's a little blue jay that just ate from that bird feeder. So that was pretty funny. Okay, yeah, so also when studying abroad, like I'll have a bunch of time between train trips and plane rides and things like that. I hope that won't just be my sleep time, but I have a bunch of books related to software and systems engineering and kind of making a startup in ways that you don't use like all of your money, so that you can have. It's called Lean Startup. I haven't read it yet. I just have had it recommended to me a lot of times. Yeah, so I'm recently, let's just get an update on how that's going. I talked to a few people recently. One was like the head of economics and relations between restaurants at Georgia Tech, and so that was cool, and she got me a little bit further connected with Chick-fil-A. And so I have a meeting with Chick-fil-A on July 2nd where hopefully I can get them into this idea of the automated restaurant and have it be like a testing zone, at least in the Georgia Tech food cafeteria, Georgia Tech food, what's it called? Whatever, where there's a bunch of restaurants, food court. And so then maybe if I tested there at Georgia Tech and it works well, maybe it could integrate to their individual restaurants or just integrate with Chick-fil-A and a bunch of other food courts, because I think Chick-fil-A is definitely a way to get into other realms, because if people are like, oh, Chick-fil-A's doing it, we have to do it. We have to go with Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A, I feel like, is a big time leader in the fast food industry. Well, they're not, they're kind of fast food, I guess you'll market as that. It's not like a dine-in place, which is where my thing would be setting. Oh God, look at my hair. It's so long. I think I might grow it out for GTL. I'm also growing out my beard, so maybe when I come back I'll be like, I'll have like a Gandalf beard or something. No way though. No way. I cannot grow that fast. But yeah, so I also had talk with this guy, Matt Bollinger. He works at AWS, and I saw him give a presentation at the last AWS summit in Atlanta about automated restaurants. But he was kind of doing it not to actually build an automated restaurant, but to show how the AWS software can help in managing a fleet of robots, which that's exactly what I'm doing. And so his robot was a little weird. It was a little technically advanced. It used LiDAR and a whole bunch of different sensors and motors in order for it to like know its location and coordinate that with its environment. And I just think that's too like computationally intensive and unnecessary for my waiter system, because my waiter system basically, like, all it needs to know is like, all right, I'm driving down a straight track. Oh, here's an intersection. Do I go right or left? All right, you went left. All right, cool. I went left. And so then with that, you can map out exactly the restaurant or food court with just different intersections, and by basically having a map be in the computer's local head, and then the server basically says like, yo robot, go to spot 27, and he's like, I got you, chief, and he zooms over there with each intersection until he's finally on spot 27. Then he lowers the food down. People are like, oh, I think I need to have some kind of like sound playing or something from the robot, maybe like a light shining down on the food so it looks like it came from like heaven, and it's like, oh. I think that would be funny. But yeah, I really see so much potential behind this, and it's not like sure, you could see potential behind just a software company that makes some kind of system more efficient, but I think having a hardware and software company that both have like integrating robots to food delivery, that's got to be one of the coolest things that like anyone has said, because most industries don't really use a robot for like first-hand experience, like front-end experience. Most use robots in the back end, like how Amazon is delivering or at least managing where packages go based upon they manage where packages go because of the, like, little robots that move them from side to side, and that's more in the back end. Like, as a consumer, you don't really see that, but in the front end of like food delivery, like, you'd so be psyched out if there was just a robot delivering your food. Like obviously people have worked towards that in China especially, and I think that if you can actually make it a reality that's not only cool but also functionally advanced, I think that's the way to go. And so my dad wants me to talk about this on the PodCurt, about the control age. So he's been saying like how there was an information age beforehand where everyone was trying to get all this knowledge, and how on the internet you're trying to spread information as quick as possible back and forth between people so that companies can work with all the information necessary so that they can make good decisions. But now that has already been established, it might be that we're going into the control age. So we're going to coin that term right now. So if you hear anyone say control age, it was me first. Look, that's my mom. Mother's Day was yesterday. We got her a sous vide. Those things are so cool. You got to get one. It like cooks your food while you put them in a bag. All right. So control age. So it's like, all right, everyone already has information. That's step one. And so now you want to control not only where the information, I guess, control who gets the information, or how you spread the information, or like how widely you can get the information to be accepted, even though it might not be true. That can be seen with I don't know if Snapchat is really one of them, but a lot of like news media, it's like they focus on some topics. They could be true, but they could just be one topic picked from a bunch of them. And so that's basically just like they get this little piece of information to change how like the reader thinks in a big way. And then on some realms, that is kind of the point of media, but also it could give you an unbalanced opinion of what's actually happening in like statistical thinking. And so yeah, control age, not only with information but also with like robots, and wanting to control every system, every individual part of a system, and make it all work autonomously. And I think that can be helpful a lot, but also a little bit harmful, because I don't know if it wouldn't take away that many jobs, because the people building the automation would be the people with the big time jobs, but a lot of people that are less, I don't know if skilled, or yeah, maybe skilled at least in technicals, and just doing kind of manual labor to either just like pick up a piece and put it here, or like someone kind of delivering food, that kind of thing. And so that's really just like, can you pick up something and put it somewhere else? Like, yeah, but that's not really using me to my full potential. That's really like a kind of wasting my time. And sure, you're getting paid for it, but you're getting paid minimally. And so like, I think the best thing to do would be able to remove the jobs that are just like so boring to do, that they really, they put a mindset on you that's like, all right, I gotta suffer for these next 6 hours, and then I can get like $80, and then I can spend it on something good. That's like sacrificing some of your time for something else. It's like not doing what you want to be doing with your life. That's more just like suffering and then having fun. That's more like continuing the scale of like, oh, this really sucks, or like, oh, this is super fun. I think I talked about that like in my first PodCurt or something. But yeah, this place is nice. Okay, I can cut it. Okay, dementia. All right, we're still on here. I just had to help my dad He just got Fusion 360, and he's having too much fun with that program, just designing stuff especially for waiter. Don't tell him, but I think he's my first employee. He's my first employee for waiter systems. I know that's a little weird, your dad's your first employee, but like, I'm definitely learning how to manage people through him a little bit, because in a sense, like, you can really easily get off thinking very specifically about one kind of thing that you're developing. Like, you can get really into making sure that the snap fit works in your system, and really, like, when you put two pieces together, make sure the snap fit works. Or really into, like, one thing he got into was for the wheels of the robot. He was thinking about having 4 specific motors for each of the wheels, and then for those 4 specific motors, in order to have them line up with the wheels and have them be strong enough to push the robot, you have to have a gearing system that gears the motor axis to the wheel, so that each wheel was controlled individually. And I think, like, yeah, that would work for the system, and that would make the system work, maybe, like, or you can make the system work a little bit better by doing that. But in the short run, at least, developing that much specificity into one component of the system is so is just not advantageous, and you're spending all your time on one piece. And so if you only have a limited amount of time, then all you're going to have at the end is one piece and not a whole system. And you really need to have the whole system, at least, to present to people and make sure it works. And so this time I've been home for like a week and 3 days, and I've been just working on the system most each day, and we don't have like a working prototype. I mean, I had one before, but we're trying to make this new prototype be very streamlined and work with all the components that we want and necessary. So we had to not only build housings for each of the components, but make sure they all fit together, and we want to make it also, like, we want to make the housing look good, and so that, or at least be really condensed, so that it can either be like one little housing with all the mechatronic pieces in there, and then have a bigger, like, say you put an airplane shell on it, so it looks like an airplane is flying over delivering your food, and not just some kind of ugly looking little box with like kind of ugly components on it. But if you have like an airplane flying over and it's like airdrop inbound, and it like drops your food, I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a cool means to do it. And so I think the airplane should be easy, because you can just grab a standard model or something from online and either make the inside shell yourself or have a company do that, because I feel like making a shell inside of a airplane should not be that hard, and I don't think it'll be that expensive at all, especially if you just make the airplane kind of cheap, because none of the airplane actual components have to work. Okay, so yeah, then the big thing, one thing I learned a lot from this one book, Total Output Management, is really just one word, and that one word is leverage. And so you really want to get into a stance where I feel you like your actions can be amplified by how you target, like how you designate your actions can target how other people work, or how a whole system works, and so you get the outcome that you want. And that might sound weird, like I could be further down the line, I could be developing each robot, assembling each piece and part, and then I would just have like 40 robots that I assembled, but that would be all my time. And so unless, like, I could have leverage where I either make the assembly of it a lot easier, or I hire someone else to do the assembly so I can focus on something else. And so basically I think how big CEOs think is like, all right, I'm going to tell this one guy what to do, and I know that one guy is able to delegate those actions of what I told him to do onto a whole group of people. So I can basically tell this guy, like, all right, I want you to build this one robot. I want it to have 4 motors, a distance sensor, a light sensor, and a Wi-Fi chip. And he's like, all right, got it. And so then that guy goes, all my papers. That guy goes and tells all of his, the people below him, like, all right, you're responsible for one motor, you're the light sensor, you're the distance sensor. Hold on, let me get my papers over here. That breeze really got him. Do you see him fly away? I don't know. All right, so yeah, kind of leverage is a little bit like telling other people what to do, but also kind of making sure that you can accomplish more, like you have more range in what you are responsible for. And I don't know if that really makes complete sense, but I think that's how you have to think in that sense. It's like, I mean, even if you don't have anyone working for you, you just have to make sure that your actions are placed so they're not only efficient but also effective, and so they accomplish what you want to do in the smallest amount of time with the lowest amount of effort. And I think you don't want to put maximum effort into everything, because then you either will get maybe maximum effort is cool. Maximum effort's good. But maximum time, not so much. You want maximum effort and efficiency. But those are tricky. So like if I don't get them, or if you don't get them, like, don't feel bad the first few times, because it's hard to make everything work completely efficient, and you'll never have 100% efficiency because of entropy production at thermodynamics. All right. I think I pretty much wrapped this up. Study abroad's gonna be good. I can't wait to come back and touch on it when I come back. All right, have a good one. PodCurt out.